Absolutely beautiful. Good morning, and welcome, 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 welcome to the First Universalist Church of Rochester, where we are called to nurture the spirit and serve the community. Whoever you are welcome here. Wherever you come from, you are welcome here. Whomever you love, you are welcome here. And whether or not you are staying at home on this sunny morning or on this snowy morning, or you are here in church, you are welcome here. All of you is welcome here. It is good, it is good, it is good to be together this morning. Each Sunday we acknowledge with respect the Seneca Nation, keepers of the Western Door and part of the Haudenosaunee people on whose ancestral lands First Universalist now stands. It is really good to be together here this morning worshiping in a new way. We are a community of seekers, both online and in person, and we are choosing to worship in person, vaccinated and masked with social distance. Thank you all so much for making an adjustment this morning to upping our masking game so we can actually get to sing together in this space and feel just a little bit safer doing so. This upcoming Friday, I really just want to invite y'all, if you're around, to come and join us for Christmas Eve at 7 p.m. And the following Sunday, we will be having an online-only worship service on December 26th. So please, please, please join us for those. If you're here for the first time this morning, we especially welcome you. We have a visitors forum that can be found in the chat or online or in your order of service. Please fill it out so we can offer you a welcome beyond what we can just offer here in this sacred space this morning. Before we take a moment to turn to our neighbor, let us take a moment to please turn towards the camera, turn towards Brock, and to offer a wave, greet our online community. It's so good to have you all with us. It's so good to be here with you all. If you are online, please pop into the chat and offer a greeting. If you are here at First Universalist, please turn to your neighbor and offer a greeting this morning. Well, good morning. Do you want me to run down there?
And Tom, it's a good idea. I'll do it right here.
As is our custom here at First Universalist Church, it is hard to come back after this time in the service. It's just a time-honored tradition. Every Sunday, it is hard to come back after this time in the service, and I know for many of us, connecting here is so important. Kitty is going to lead us in a hymn this morning.
Our hymn this morning is called The Longest Night, and it's written in the order of service, okay? We're going to do it as a round, but we'll sing it all together.
Behold, the solstice is upon us. The pace of the darkening has slowed, and life will return anon. Nature runs her course. The days grow short, the leaves have fallen from the trees, the bear retreats to her den, sheltered from a hostile world. The few remaining geese huddle close beside their ponds, while their companions, like the sun, have flown south for the winter. Everything seems frightening, dangerous, and cold. But this is the season of hope. We venerate the evergreen holly and pine. We tend the bonfire and the hearth. We string our homes with lights. We kindle the candle and the chalice. We sing the songs that bind our hearts to childhood memories and loved ones long departed. For the goddess keeps her promises. The sun will indeed return. The months of snow will end. Our isolation will abate. The bear will emerge from her den with cubs. The trees will bloom, and the geese, rising on the edge of spring, will fill our skies with laughter. Come, let us worship together. Would Tom Williams please come forward to light the flaming chalice? As Tom lights our sanctuary chalice, and as many online light a chalice at home, will you join me in saying our chalice words in unison? May we be a people of welcome, here to grow in heart and mind and spirit, and may we reach out to serve our community. Please join me now in our affirmation of faith, followed by the doxology. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and the service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the source and meaning of life. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all. Yule is the season of change, the turning of the year, the gathering in that paves the way for spring's rebirth. Fire is the symbol of the solstice, a promise of the sun's return, a burning away of the past, a reminder of human possibility. For while each individual spark can be miraculous, the fire we build together can change the world. As you are moved to do so, I invite you to leave a donation in the box at the back of the sanctuary or here by the door up front, either now or at the end of the service. If you would like to give online, please scan the QR code in your order of service or click on the link in the Zoom chat window. You can also, of course, send a check through the physical mail. The offering will now be given and gratefully received.
Beautiful choir, thank you. I have a secret this morning to tell you all. I really love Winter Solstice. I'm super excited about this morning. As we slid into these late fall, early winter days, the darkness of the evening has grown longer. I'm sure so many of you have noticed it. It feels like it's getting dark at like 4:30 right now. For many of us, we have been rising and going to sleep each day and each night in darkness. The sun sets in our part of the country around 4:30 p.m., and so for many years, for many generations of people, we paid attention to the cycles of the seasons. In fact, we had to for our survival. For those of us here today, we have often become disconnected from the cycles of the season. And so this celebration today invites us to reconnect in with the cycles of the earth, the moon, and the sun. In this time when the earth is saying, rest, rest, please, rest. When the darkness is alive and is meant to slow us down, we are here. We are here. So let us honor the dark this morning. Let's honor the invitation of the dark, all that the dark has been inviting us into. A few weeks ago, when I preached about this, we lifted up gratitude for all the things that the dark brings into our lives, right? For sunrises, cozy nights at home, the invitation to slow down, the quiet. And as we honor the dark, we also join our pagan and our earth-based kin in welcoming the return of the sun. After a period of dark on this Tuesday, we look to the winter solstice, the longest and darkest night of the year, At the end of that night, many will be gathering in the morning across the country and the world to welcome the return of the sun. Some will do so with bells and whistles heralding the arrival of the sun. Others will dance way early in the morning to welcome the sun. I don't know if any of you here have that kind of energy. Way in the morning, maybe. Yeah, Kitty does. There we go. Kitty's got it. Kitty will be up early in the morning to welcome the sun. The rest of us will probably just be drinking coffee. I don't know. Yeah, welcome to Kitty's house. Everybody's invited. Here at First Universalist, we too will just join in a brief practice this morning of welcoming the sun. So let's just begin actually by entering the dark. We're going to turn off the lights for a second so we can really get into it. Tom, can you hit the lights? If you're joining us from home, you can also turn off your lights too. Let us begin by entering into the dark. We can embrace it even more if we want to close our eyes a little bit. And let us go within, into the darkness of our own being. Notice with your eyelids closed the ways there may still be just a little bit of brightness in this space. Let us just sit in the darkness, in the quiet, in the stillness for a moment together. Each morning, we come out of our inner darkness, our sleep world, to greet the day. Each day where we live brings the promise of the sun. So here, in this dark moment right now, let us call forth the sun. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, waking up, I don't usually wake up well to a loud, sudden shout. I like it to be a little bit softer at the beginning. That's how I set my alarm in the morning. So we can start by just offering like a light clap. Anybody? Just a little? Maybe a tap? Maybe a little bit of a stomp, if anybody wants to. And then maybe we'll get a little louder. And maybe a little louder. Oh, the sun's coming back, it sounds like. Oh. You want to stamp your feet maybe? Let's stamp our feet. Woo! Welcome back, son. It is my hope that you will find some way to honor this day, this Tuesday. I don't know if maybe there will be a few claps just heard across the greater Rochester area, or maybe just some way to quietly offer gratitude for what the sun, what the light and the dark are offering you in this life. Finding maybe a special way to greet the morning, or just giving a shout in the comfort of your own home and community. Let us find ways this week to celebrate the return of the sun. Woohoo! Dear ones, I'm just going to invite us all to take a centering breath as we enter into a time of sharing the joys and sorrows of our gathered community. Let's just take a deep breath together. I'll invite you, if you'd like to place a hand over your heart to be able to listen from a heart-centered place and space. I know that for many of us, this is a way to just ground ourselves through this practice. As Michael places stones into a bowl, I will read aloud the joys and the sorrows of our gathered community, that we may hear them, receive them, and hold them as a community. This morning, we share a sorrow from Greg and Lois Baum. Our dear cat, Ben, continues through a very sudden health crisis. Vets daily since December 11th. Please send Ben thoughts of strength and healing, and of course, Lois and Greg. We have a joy this morning from Richard Reed, who had a visit this past week with Carol Viverberg. She says hello. She misses seeing people, and she calls in on her phone to the worship service every week. So Carol, thinking of you. Dwight Montague is sharing a joy and maybe a little bit of a concern. He is traveling to be with his family in Portland, Oregon for Christmas, nervous about flying. Let us all keep in our hearts and in our thoughts those who are traveling in this season, right? We also have a joy for Michael and Kelly Scott. Daughter Shannon will be with us for Christmas, first time in 4 years. Woohoo! She's flying in this morning. Michael, thank you for being here. Oh, a joy from Marty Eggers. She will be spending Christmas in Massachusetts with one of her sons and his family. We have a joy this morning from Julie Kleinhans, who started a new job this week. What a time to start a job, where she'll be outside quite a bit. It's a double joy. Awesome news. Oh, joy and gratitude from Emma for all the amazing staff members she works with. Oh, Emma. And for sending good holiday wishes to all. So sweet. And from Steve Searles, a joy to be able to see Rev Lane back in the pulpit this morning. So thank you. A joy from me to be back here with you all. Thank you for supporting me in taking a week of rest and recuperation. I really needed it, and I'm so grateful to be back with you all. I'll ask Michael to drop one final stone into the bowl to represent all the joys and the sorrows left unspoken in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts. May all be held in the heart of love. This Sunday today, we light a white candle to acknowledge that we are a community affected by the grief, the loss, the fear, and the hope of living through a pandemic. We light this candle this week, especially for all of the ways we are finding to celebrate and connect with each other in this era of being newly vaccinated and able maybe to see more of one another than we got to in the previous last 2 years. May this candle's flame hold our experiences around this pandemic, and may its light be a beacon of hope and a reminder that we are not alone. Dear ones, this morning's prayer I'd like to invite you into is a prayer of gratitude for the gifts and the works of Bell Hooks. For those of you who did not know, Bell Hooks died this past week, and it is, the reverberations are everywhere. She's an amazing teacher, a prophet, a fantastic writer, and a holy disruptor. So this morning, I really just wanted to lift up some gratitude for her work and for the work of so many. So let us just enter into a time of prayer and meditation with one another as we honor this life. Teacher, dreamer, writer, lover, Black, queer, woman, voice in the depths calling out to us. Are you seeing this? Are you paying attention? Are you honoring all? Are you doing what you can to live deeply into love's calling? We lift up gratitudes this morning for the gifts you brought to this world, for the words that changed lives and spoke to so many, for your presence in spaces not made for you or designed with you in mind, for the ways you called us back to love each and every time. Thank you for doing the work of disentangling love from abuse. Thank you for naming white supremacy so clearly. Thank you for the many students you mentored and encouraged and uplifted and challenged. Thank you for persistently showing up. Our hearts grieve for you. Your loss is felt too soon. We recall today those in our lives who we wish we had more time with. We lift up that particular grief as the loss of a dream, the loss of how we imagined our lives with this person in it. May we hold in blessed memory this morning bell hooks and all who have challenged us to expand. May we offer gratitude today and in the days to come for all of our teachers, our mentors, those who loved us into being. May we commit in blessed tribute to justice and acts of deep kindness. May we rest in the fact that those who have gone before are held by a larger love that holds us all. In gratitude, in honor, in witness, in reverence, in grieving, may our hearts be held this morning. Amen. Blessed be, and may it be so. As we enter into a time of shared silence with one another, let us just hold those memories. Let us just hold the gifts and hold the silence too. Let us join in singing our hymn of contemplation as we remain seated, hymn number 55, Dark of Winter. Dark of winter, soft and still, your quiet arms surround me. Let my thoughts go where they will, please my mind turn around me. did not know that song before this past year when Brock and I kind of picked it out of a lineup, but I love that one, right? I'm loving that song. It's a good one. This morning's reading comes from Kiana Dene Perkins, who is a Unitarian Universalist serving at the Unitarian Universalist congregation in Ann Arbor. Kiana Dene is a pagan and earth-based practitioner, and this is her piece, The Turning. At the last turning, I was invited to a meeting among the sun, the earth, and the moon. The sun asked, "Do you have space in your heart for a great light?" The earth said, "I will hold you down if you are willing." The moon said, "I will guide you if you need it." And it was easy to say yes to the energies of balance. So for a turning, we have found ourselves dancing. The sun took the lead, sharing a drop of their luminescence. I held it deep in my heart when the darkness loomed, held it on the tips of my fingers when others called for it, coming to understand space, becoming a beacon, learning the nuance of shadow and light. The earth kept her word. I was planted deep and rooted hard. I was uprooted, replanted, and loved until I was healed and able to feel the small tug from soil calling me down, demanding I grow again. And the moon, a sister auntie, stayed faithful at my side, always hovering, always playing, always laughing, reminding me that joy takes many forms and keeps no schedule. Reassuring me with loving pats and, "Oh, child," whispered commentary, a subtle and wanted companion on this journey. The turning is coming again. The sun said, "Daughter, you have done well." The earth said, "Healer who is still healing, you always have home." The moon said, "Beloved shadow worker, we will cast new spells soon." We radiate the light. We rotate the life. We revolve back into love. We enter a new season of possibilities. And therein ends our reading this morning. I love this reading. I love what Kiana Dene has to say about having a relationship with the sun, the earth, and the moon. A relationship that is a conversation almost, with listening, asking questions, paying attention to one another in a different way. The relationship between the earth, the moon, the sun. I have to tell you all, when this pandemic began, and we all had to sit inside, we were really concerned. Do you remember? We were concerned with like contact. We were concerned with really, going out of our homes, really. For me, of course, I wanted to stay inside, and of course I was here with you all. We were worshiping from our own homes. But as March progressed, I found for me, I had to get outside. It was so hard and so stifling to be inside for so long. And so as the spring of that year progressed, I got out each day for about an afternoon, for about an hour, hour and a half. I walked the trails near my home, and I just, right near the Genesee River, and it was amazing. Through that walk, I was able, of course, to clear my mind and get out of my own head, but also I got to watch the seasons and the cycles change. I got to watch the earth wake up from the steep sleep of winter. I got to watch the earth bloom and blossom and grow in the summertime, to watch the leaves fall in the fall, and to sit with the barrenness of the winter. I realized in this time that I had grown really far outside of the cycles and the seasons of the earth, far out of relationship with the cycles and the seasons of the earth, and that I wanted a deeper relationship to those cycles and to those seasons. but actually I needed to have a theological relationship that was grounded in the cycles of our earth, the cycles of our moon, and the cycles of our sun. I don't know why. I feel like I just need something practical to hang on to sometimes. And it feels like what's going on in these cycles and in these seasons is something practical I can really hang on to. So I am, of course, delighted to be celebrating this winter solstice with you all, and also to let you know about some of this theological shift that has happened for me. I stand before you this morning, a Unitarian Universalist who has theologically changed their mind. It can happen. I'm here to tell the tale. And isn't that amazing? Isn't that one of the amazing things about Unitarian Universalism? I don't have to go anywhere when my beliefs change. I can stay right here and be here with you all and explore these things with you. And it's not this big, oh gosh, where am I going to go? What's going to be my home? This always gets to be our home, where we can explore and engage. So I love the solstice. The solstice, of course, is the celebration of the return of the sun, which I think kind of feels a little premature here in Rochester, to be honest with you, doesn't it? It feels like we're doing this return of the sun, but yet it's going to be gray until May, probably, right? Is that? Sorry, I don't want it to be. I know, Kitty, I don't want it to be. I see MJ and Kitty together. I don't want it to be, but I will say it's probably going to be gray for a little bit longer. But also, the celebration has to be a celebration of the dark and of the many gifts that it brings into our lives. Maybe you aren't a big welcoming the sun kind of person. Maybe you long for the dark right now, and that is okay. This week, my spiritual director brought forth this poem, Winter's Cloak by Joyce Rupp, and I wanted to share it with you. This year, I do not want the dark to leave me. I need its wrap of silent stillness, its cloak of long-lasting embrace. Too much light has pulled me away from the chamber of gestation. Let the dawns come late. Let the sunsets arrive early. Let the evenings extend themselves while I lean into the abyss of my being. Let me lie in the cave of my soul, for too much light blinds me, steals the source of revelation. Let me seek solace in the empty places of winter's passage, those vast, dark nights that never fail to shelter me. I think wherever you find yourself in this season is where you need to be. Are you someone who really needs to welcome in the light this year? Are you someone who really needs to stay in the dark for a bit longer, to linger there, to allow that gestation, that creative energy, that quiet, soft slowness to fill you? Perhaps we are just seeking a balance between the two always. In my tradition and in my heritage, in the Scottish heritage and the Scottish earth-based heritage, we look at the year in two halves, a lighter half of the year and a darker half of the year. The darker half of the year goes from summer into the wintertime as the darkness increases. And this Tuesday begins the lighter half of the year. And yet, I feel like this binary asks of us to choose between, when really, I just want both. And I think we all deserve both, a balance of both light and dark. We know that this time of year, many traditions have a way of marking this time of year. We know that people throughout time have been paying attention to these cycles and seasons of life, right? We have Advent in our Christian tradition, which is all about stillness, waiting, anticipation, with the joy to come at the end, Christmas, right? And also, of course, with Hanukkah, not the same. Hanukkah certainly takes place, in a different time period, different observance, but still lights in the dark, gathering with family and friends, going through the same rituals around the dinner table, lighting the candles and staring at them in the dark. One of my rabbinical friends reminds us that that is the glimpse back to the primordial light from whence we came and to which we all return. Communal rituals of honoring the winter. I'm sure that you have some in your life. Ways to honor that winter is coming. Maybe for some of us here, communal rituals of the winter, like putting snow tires on our cars, or getting our jackets out. I like to imagine sometimes. I like to think back to our ancestors in this part of the world and in the parts of the world that we come from. I like to think about them and the ways that they were paying attention to the cycles and the seasons of life, and also to think about where a celebration like Winter Solstice might have come out of. Now, I am not, I'm not a historian in this arena by any sense, but I feel as if perhaps maybe our ancestors noticed it was getting a bit dark and folks were feeling a bit rough. So we had to celebrate the welcoming of the sun. We had to bring it back. We had to find ways to choose to celebrate along the way in the midst of a pretty long winter time, especially here in Rochester and in upstate Western New York. We had to find ways to celebrate along the way. Dear ones, I feel like maybe you, are in need of some celebrations along the way right now. I feel like we are in need of some joy. We are in need of some laughter. We're in need of sitting here and clapping in the dark to bring back the light. We are in need of celebrations in this season. Especially now, we know this is going to be a good long winter, maybe a little bit warmer is what I hear than other winters, but we know that we need celebrations along the way. One more story. This past Tuesday, did you go outside this past Tuesday? Did anybody go out? It was like 60 degrees out this past Tuesday. Do you remember this 60-degree day? It was weird. But also, this past week going out on Tuesday just reminded me, we gotta take advantage of something like that when it comes. Maybe I'm truly a Rochesterian now, I don't know. But I'm like, I gotta get out in this time period, enjoy it. So I went out in my sweater in December in Rochester, which felt very surreal, and just went out and enjoyed taking a look at what's going on in my neighborhood, what's happening out there. What are these cycles and these seasons? We have to hold on to the warmth when it's there. We have to take advantage of it when it comes, because we here in this room know we are entering into a season of cold. Dear ones, my hope for you in the days ahead is a hope for finding joy. Moments of small joys, moments of precious joys, moments when you can celebrate just something small in your life along the way. I wish you this morning the joys of the return of the sun, the joys that we have waited for, the joys that will carry us through in this time ahead. Let us let the sun shine in. Happy solstice. Blessed be. Amen. And may it be so. Our closing hymn this morning is usually one that we sing at the beginning of the service, but we figured this was a way to welcome in the sun and welcome in a new day. So our closing hymn this morning is hymn number 1000, Morning Has Come. Please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing this morning. Morning has come, arise and greet the day. Dance with joy and sing a song of gladness. The light of hope here shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide your journey on. A new day dawns, once more the gift is given. Wonder fills this moment shared. I tell you know what I mean? It's just amazing. Thank you, Brock. Please remain standing as we extinguish our chalice flame this morning. Let us read together the words printed in your order of service or on the screen. We extinguish this flame, but we keep its light in our hearts with its message of love and justice, taking it outside these walls to the world we live in until we are together again. Dear ones, I'll invite you now to place a hand over your heart wherever you are, online, here, with us in person. Just take a moment to look around here in this room. Each time when we extinguish our chalice and we say, until we are together again, I remember the 18 months when we all said that by ourselves and how we're saying that here now. Dear ones, in this solstice season, may you know the gifts of the dark and the gifts of the light. May you find space this week and in the days ahead for joy, please, please, and love and hope. May our hearts be awakened with that new morning and that new day to the light that fills our days. May you know that you are loved, and may you go and be that love wherever you go this week. Amen. Blessed be, and may it be so.
Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, and I say, it's all right. The little darling, it's been a long, lonely road. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, I say, it's all right. Little darling, the smiles will be turning to their faces. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, I say, it's all right. Sun, 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 here it comes. Sun, 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 here it comes. Sun, 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 here it comes. Little darling,